One of my favorite shows right now is playing off Broadway at New World Stages. Dracula, a comedy of terrors, is one of the funniest shows I've ever seen, and the acting ensemble is exquisite. Right now, we're with Andrew Keenan Bolger, who plays 5 roles, including Dr. Harker. Andrew, tell us more about the roles that you play.
Oh, sure. So in this show, there are only 5 actors, but we cover 20 or so different characters. Almost every scene, we're like bouncing in and out of playing different characters with different accents, running off stage, doing a quick change, coming back as another character. Yeah, so the main character I play is John Harker, who is a real estate agent who finds himself embroiled in a love triangle with his fiancee Lucy and the eponymous Dracula. It's been really fun. It is a mile a minute marathon of laughs, and something that I feel so lucky to do, especially during this kind of spooky season that we're in right now.
In more ways than one.
Truly, yeah.
Your role is basically someone who's incredibly insecure, very nebbish. Uh,
Yes,
Hopefully, this is not politically incorrect anymore, but very much a nerd.
1000%. And as a proud nerd myself, I identify very strongly. Yeah, he is basically the polar opposite of Dracula. He is pretty meek and feeble, scared of his own shadow, and uh, runs into a lot of interesting challenges. Sort of pitting himself against someone as like brazen and fearless as Count Dracula.
What did you pull? Who did you pull from? How did you come up with this character? Because it really is seriously hysterical.
Oh, thank you so much. I went and watched a lot of the Dracula movies. Our cast has basically started kind of a creature feature movie club because there are so many adaptations of this story. Some hilarious, some like scary, some that are unintentionally hilarious because I think they're striving to be scary but end up just being camp. But yeah, I the character of Harker is played very different kind of in all of them. Sometimes he's like very sexy, sometimes he's just boring, frankly. I honestly I sort of found my character once I was in the room with James, who plays Dracula. Now, this guy is 6'4", a hulking human being, and I'm 5'4", so he's a full foot taller than me. And we really started playing up kind of the height difference and drawing the contrast from there. And that's, I think, where my character really began to feel like, oh, this is even funnier. The like more weak and kind of um, non-threatening that I am, it just makes the difference so much funnier when playing up against how confident and how like suave and sexy James is.
But you also, once he just sets his eyes on you, you become this now sex symbol. I
It's
love the
a
turnabout.
transformation, yeah.
Tell us about the other roles you play.
So I play a bunch of the daughters' suitors. So a guy from Scotland, a guy from England, and a guy from the US. So it's all 3 of those I play at the same time with puppets. So it's really bouncing between lines and between accents, basically every other line. Those are really fun. I get to play a drunken old craggy grave digger at one point who is like totally that character that's in every movie, just like warning people, like stay back, don't, it's very dangerous in there. Sort of a take on that kind of horror movie.
Dark shadows come to mind during that.
Totally, yeah, 1000%. And then I play, yeah, a guy working on a ship. I'm trying to think if there are any others. Yeah, so it's really fun and it's super fast paced, and there are times where I it is almost hard to keep track of.
This next performer blew me away because she mostly plays a man. We're talking Ellen Harvey. Ellen, that character When I saw you after the opening night and saw how beautiful you are and that who you played, I was like, wait. Kind of reminded me of the woman in Beverly Hillbillies.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you reminded me of her. Where did you come up with this character?
Uh, well, I mean, I've never played a man before, and so the whole idea of rather than playing a man, just sort of embody male characteristics. The script, of course, lends itself to a very misogynistic type of dialogue. But it's mostly just, I think if you commit 100%, no matter what, and you have the wonderful, costumes and wigs that help you go along, um, I never think of it as I'm playing a man. I'm just playing somebody very strong and very opinionated. And yeah, it's fun. It's a whole new sort of fun thing to get to do.
Did you possibly base her off of the woman in Dark Shadows as well?
No, I actually, for me, thinking of the character, I kept seeing more of a John Cleese type. I was thinking more sort of Monty Python-esque, one, because of course it's British, but just that sort of very dry, sometimes very still humor. That to me sort of sank in. And then a little bits, I think Renfield to me feels a little more like a little Carol Burnett show for me at times. But it was just sort of fun to just kind of play with Renfield, playing with different dialects, with different placements, with different. So it's a lot of. It was a lot of process, which I love. I love the process of creating, and it's been fun to just feel audiences completely embrace that gender swap in that character, and yeah.
How hard is it to go back and forth from the doctor to Renfield, from the doctor to Renfield?
It's
Those
very hard.
are
It's very hard. I kind of compare it to having trained for a marathon. The whole rehearsal process was about actually getting it into my body and training myself to be able to change on a dime, which I do on stage. And um, it was, yeah, just figuring out a lot of logistics and getting myself in good physical shape to be able to do all of that, and changing postures and changing voice and doing the gags and the bits and the things. So yeah, it was a lot.
it was seriously flawless.
Oh,
I
thank you.
was so impressed. You also play other characters. Who else do you play?
In the beginning, I'm just one of the very, very beginning of the show. I'm just one of the narrators. And that's the only time I'm female. That's when I'm in a dress and a beautiful wig, and that's the only time you ever get to see me as a girl or female. Um, and then I play the captain of the ship that is very true to the novel, actually, and the captain of the ship that crashes into Whitby, and that's where Dracula was, on that particular ship. So, and then I play Renfield, and I play Dr. Westphal.
Now, where else have we seen you before? Because
Um,
it is exquisite.
I've done 5 Broadway shows, both plays and musicals. The last thing I did was Present Laughter with Kevin Kline on Broadway in 2017. But I also did How to Succeed in Business with opposite Daniel Radcliffe. I was in Phantom for a couple of years. So I've sort of run the gamut. Yeah,
Who'd you play in Phantom?
I was Madame Giry.
Wow. What would you like audiences to take away from Dracula?
I think Dracula is a 90-minute romp through a very classic story that you think you know, but the level of brilliant, sharp writing and the comedy that is brought to this particular piece will allow you the gift of laughter for 90 minutes. And if you've had a long day or a bad day or world events just getting you down, come see us and let us just let us give you our gift so you can laugh for 90 minutes and just enjoy yourself.
I would have to agree with you. This show definitely made me laugh, and it takes a lot to do that. He's hot, he's sexy, He is hilarious. He's in one of the funniest shows that I've seen in a very long time. Dracula, Comedy of Terrors is now playing at New World Stages, and we are with James Daly. James, you're from Canada. How did you get this role?
Hi, Susanna.
Hi.
Thank you for that very complimentary intro. Um,
Oh,
I
trust
got
me,
this.
you're like the new thing in the town. You're like
Okay, sure.
Cheyenne
I'll
Jackson
take
was.
it.
You're like Cheyenne Jackson was like 10 years ago.
Wow. Wow, I appreciate that. I got the role because I did a production of Dracula at the Siegel Center in Montreal last October that Gordon Greenberg directed there. And I believe that was his either second or third time directing the show in preparation for this off-Broadway production that we're currently doing. And at some point during the run, he said, I want you to come play Dracula in New York. And then I was shocked and surprised. And now about a year later, here we are. I'm here doing it.
What roles did you play in Canada?
What roles did I play in Canada? I worked a lot at the Shaw Festival in Niagara-on-the-Lake. I've done 6 seasons there and played some great roles there. I've done Joe Hardy and Damn Yankees there. I played Baron Felix von Geigern in Grand Hotel. I played Harold in Master Harold and the Boys. I was going to do oh my God, what's his name? Booth in Assassins. Yeah, right before COVID happened. That was in 2020. I was going to be doing John Wilkes Booth in Assassins, which I was really excited about. So haven't really gotten to do that one yet, but yeah, I've done a lot of musicals back in Canada.
Your acting training is exquisite. I mean, you really are hilariously funny, and at the same time, smoldering, dark, sexy. Yet you're blonde.
Thank you.
Did you base any of that on Rocky Horror?
Sorry, say that again.
Base any of that on Rocky Horror?
Did I base any of that on Rocky Horror? You know what? Like, for sure, I did a production of Rocky Horror in Ontario, in Sudbury, and I played Rocky, and it's the same kind of campy, comedic, sexy thing. And yeah, I really, I guess, have found a bit of a niche little home in this genre, and I don't mind.
What would you like audiences to take away from Dracula?
I think I'd like them to empathize with Dracula a little bit. I think that's the goal with any character, right? Even characters that are antagonists or sort of evil by nature, is the goal is to kind of entertain the audience, but also by the end of it to kind of go like, huh, I see their humanity, and I kind of hear their point of view a little bit. So past the thinking that I'm sexy and past the even thinking that I'm funny, I would like them to go, oh, I really see Dracula for who he is and for what he wants, which is just to be loved just like anybody else. And I'd like them to kind of get hit in the feels a little bit by the end of the story.
We've spent some time with James Daly. If you want to see a phenomenal performance, actually everybody in this cast is phenomenal. Go see Dracula, A Comedy of Terrors at New World Stages. Thank you, James, very much.
Thanks, Susanna. See ya.
With everything so politically correct up in the air, it's nice to know that you can play and still have fun and still make fun.
Yes.
And it's good.
Yes, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I do think we're in a period where I think, maybe that we've taken things too seriously.
They have.
And we need to, if one thing that I've discovered of getting older is if you take life too seriously, which is really kind of a place, that's where the young specializes in taking life too seriously. Because it's like, I don't know, when you get to be my age, it's like, you can't take it seriously, because if you do, whatever's left of your life, you're not going to enjoy. and there's so much good in life, and there's so much to laugh at and to enjoy. It's just like I refuse to have my last my last act in this life not be fun and not be filled with laughter, frankly.
Well, right now you're filling a lot of audience members with laughter because you are hysterical.
Oh, thanks so much.
When you and James Daly react against each other, it is the funniest thing ever.
I have to say, I do enjoy that, and I do enjoy when things go wrong. The other night, James hit me in the face with his cape as Mina, like really socked me in the face, and we had quite a meal on that.
Do you ever improv in the show?
Not intentionally, but you know, it's one of those shows where if things go wrong, that's why I kind of say I kind of enjoy when things do go wrong, because then we are allowed to kind of just acknowledge it, because it's that kind of show. Again, it's like the Carol Burnett show when they would break, they would never do it intentionally, but when it does happen, it's kind of, there's gold there.
No, it's true. This show breaks the third wall just when you don't expect it to. So
yeah,
that's genius about it.
Yeah, it's really good. So it's kind of built in, you know, and it's also I don't like a show to feel rote, like we're
right.
You know, you just go by the book every night. I like it to feel really alive in that room, you know, and anything can happen. That's kind of my mindset right before I go on stage, is like anything can happen tonight, anything, and be prepared.
And that's actually a great mindset.
Yeah, it helps you with the nerves. You know, if you ever get stage fright, it's just like whatever happens. And actually, sometimes I use this for auditions too. Sometimes I say, you know, it's like, I actually hope something goes wrong, because that frees you up and not be so scared to make a mistake. Because almost always when you make a mistake, there's a bonus there. There's a little nugget of gold there.
Well, thank you for talking with us. Everyone, go see Dracula, A Comedy of Terrors. You will laugh.
Yes, you will.
You will have a great time, and you will see a company of amazing actors. Arnie, thank you for being with us today.
My pleasure. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
This woman plays basically the only true female in the show of Dracula, A Comedy of Terrors. She's Lucy. We're talking Jordan Boatman. Jordan, how did you get into Dracula, A Comedy of Terrors?
Oh my goodness, what a whirlwind. I actually auditioned back in April of this year, so it feels like such a lifetime ago that I was going through that process. But I auditioned for Gordon and Steve, and Drew and Dane are fabulous producers, and went through the whole callback process, and actually got to meet Andrew and James, who are Dracula and Harker, Jonathan Harker, my two love interests, and their love interest as well. And so I got to meet them in that process. We're a little triangle, the three of us. So I got to meet them in that process, which was really exciting. I mean, even though at the time I didn't know that I knew it would be James, because James was already Dracula. But I didn't know that it would be the three of us, but it was very exciting nonetheless. And it was one of my first audition experiences back in the room, one of the very few that I've done so far, post-COVID, being back in the room and not doing just self-tape. We self-taped the first round, and then the next 2-3 round of callbacks were in person, excuse me.
What had you done before Dracula?
I've done a little bit of a lot of things. I did a fantastic play called The Niceties a few years ago, with MTC and the Geffen Playhouse and the McCarter Theater Center, and the Huntington Playhouse. And I did Medea at Brooklyn Academy of Music right before the pandemic. I had a recurring part on The Good Fight. I also appeared in Bull on CBS last year, which was really, really exciting. So a little bit of everything. I've been around, picking and choosing.
Where did you come up with your character of Lucy? Who did you base it on?
Honestly, she's a lot of little things. I'm a big accent nerd, so I was so excited to get to be British for 6 months. So I really dove in kind of, I think that was my way in. I watched a lot of different movies. I watched, The Young Victoria. I watched A Room with a View. I watched The Sound of Music, everything. Anything that had a British accent or that took place in the Victorian era, I kind of watched, and she's an amalgamation of a lot of things. But and then I think a little bit of me, all the things that I love about England and about British accents and all the little things that I've wanted to do and I want to say and incorporate. So that was kind of my way in. And she just, I wanted her to be, I loved Lucy. I fell in love with her character in reading the show. So I wanted her to really be a real person or feel like a real person up on the stage. So yeah,
she does.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm very glad. But I wanted, so I went through the script. I've been through that script so many times, and just kind of I like to pick out, like, what does everybody say about Lucy? What does Lucy say about herself? What does Lucy say about the people that she loves? And kind of how does that form this world of these characters and this family, and these people who love each other. And so I think that was my way in, kind of just to build the person and think about who she is and what I would be thinking, what I would be doing, if I'd graduated from Oxford and got engaged and then couldn't find a job and then had this beautiful man come and try and sweep me off my feet. She goes through a lot. So I wanted her to be this real tangible person.
What's your favorite moment in the show?
Oh my gosh, good question. I have so many favorite moments. I love my first scene with Mina, my sister. Arnie Burton is such a genius. He's incredible, and he makes me laugh every day. So I think that she is Mina, the relationships in this play are really kind of what ground it. So I love the relationship between Mina and Lucy. I think that they're really close and they really love each other and they get each other, even though, Mina's a little kooky and Lucy's so different, but I think they take care of each other. And, in this world of men telling them they can't do anything and can't do the things that they know very well they can do and maybe do better than most of the men. I think it's nice that they have that bond and that they have each other, excuse me. But that's one of my favorite parts. But I also love my nightgown scene with Dracula, where I get to just really go into the full ingenue, flying around the room, white train flying behind her. So that's always fun.
It's very much like you're doing the cover of a romance novel.
Yes. That's what I said when we did the first photo shoot, with the pictures that have been circulating. I was like, James, I think we could be like, you're the Fabio and I'm the girl.
Exactly.
Like that.
No, he does. He reminds me of Fabio in that moment.
Absolutely. That's the wind and the sea and everything is just coming. Yes, very romantic novel.
Yeah. And what would you like audiences to take away from Dracula?
I would like audiences to take away a lot of levity. I hope that they can come and laugh with us for 90 minutes. We have such a great time together. And if that can translate from the stage to the audience, I'll be really happy. I think the idea and the ability to be free and explore. And, I think one of my favorite things about this manifestation of Dracula is, that Jonathan goes out and explores, that Lucy, takes steps to kind of figure out what it is that she wants with her life and what in her life is not working and how that can be fixed. And I think those two characters especially, but Dracula as well, I the idea for exploration and the idea that finding your best self and finding the place where you are actually really meant to be is not a foregone conclusion. It doesn't have to be where you're standing right now, even if that feels like the right thing. And I think the scary thing is to go out and explore and try something new and pick it up and see what happens and maybe fail, be open to failure. But I don't think that failure is the end all be all that we make it. I think that it is just a step to your next success. So I hope that people take a little bit of that, a little bit of bravery setting out into what they want to do. And really levity. I think, we as a community, we as a world have had such a difficult past 3-4 almost 4 years now, that I love the idea that you can come into our theater and laugh for 90 minutes and see something silly and sweet and lovely and fun, and so I hope that can bring some joy to people. This play taking place in 1897, 1890, as we go along, these people we can see very clearly, you know, in the case of my character, in case of Lucy, I can see very clearly the ways in which she can and cannot move. You know, she's got to get married to this man, she has to be a wife, she has to be a mother, she's got to be the head of household. But then she's this woman who went to Oxford and got a degree in the earth sciences and is adventurous and brave and is braver than her fiance, as it seems, as it comes in, and you know, he grows as well. Come see Dracula and see the rest. But at first sight has this bravery and has this joie de vivre and this drive for life to go out and seek these things. And so I think it's a great juxtaposition taking place in this time period where that's not what you expect from a woman.
Everybody go see Dracula, a comedy of terrors at New World Stages. You will love Jordan Boatman's performance. Thank you.
Thank you so much.